Alright, so this is what we got left from our cutoff. It's two rails stacked inside each other. Need to get them moved over to where I can use them to copy the holes. I've got pretty much everything over here out of the way, ready to get the Freightliner up out of this hole right here. So, I said, here's all the harvested parts right here. All the suspension, all the reinforcements. We'll probably get new U-bolts. We're gonna put new bushings in the suspension parts, and new airbags. These axles will eventually go up underneath this Freightliner here. This fifth wheel, we'll probably use this fifth wheel on the 68. So we'll get this thing up out of here. We'll get our reman diffs put back in the axles, and maybe put it back together and run it down the road, because I've never run it. And then we'll go from there. Then we'll get it up in the yard here, and get the engine out of it, and get it ready to rebuild. And we'll pull the housings and all out from underneath of it, and put these underneath of it, and then get it out the way. So I'll move my pickup, and then we'll get this dually out the middle of the yard, out the middle of the driveway here. I think we'll just back it up beside this square body wrecker right here, and that hole right there. And that way we can get to our gantry crane. And we got the front axle for the 68. This is a 2022 front axle. And then we've got brand new 389 air ride springs for the front axle. So that's a Spicer. It's a Spicer front axle there. We'll put that up underneath the truck. We're going to do all the brakes on the axles up underneath the Freightliner now that we're pulling out with the new diffs in them. So that'll all be fresh. We'll pull these apart and see what they need. We'll probably do drums, brake shoes, and brake chambers on this front axle. Alright, so these are new style front hangers going on, and got new pins in them. And then I got the pins for the springs, and the front. I wanted to get new shackles for so get new shackles for it, so I still got to get that. And then here is a high performance engine kit for that 6NZ that we're building for it. So this is a ceramic coated pistons, liners, and all that good stuff. Then we've got a full tilt exhaust manifold that's ceramic coated, somewhere in this box here. Alright, there's your full tilt manifold. And then in the box underneath here is the oil cooler, oil pump, water pump, dampener, I don't know what all else. Everything we need to do for the engine is on these two pallets, with the exception of the head, which is at my cousin Gary's shop. That's where it was delivered to, along with the diffs, the reman diffs, and the reman 18 speed. So all right, so I set this truck up in the spring of 2022, and didn't get the hood centered up, or the wheel centered up in the hood. I got the height on the cab where it needs to be, because the exhaust runs up underneath between the frame and the cab. So now I pulled the transmission that was in here out and put in Leroy, my other truck. So the front sleeper mount is loose. That's why it's kind of leaning downhill. But I just did some measuring. This was a W900L chassis. This is a short hood truck. If I turn this hood into a long hood and add 12 inches into it, that's going to move the whole cabin all 12 inches back, which will put the sleeper mount right here, right there. So I'll lose a foot of this nice real estate here, which it's 9 foot from the back of the sleeper to that quarter fender hanger right there. So it'll still be 8 foot. It'll still look really long. And that will add a foot in here. And then this will move this mount back a foot. I've got the new spring hangers that I have for it need to move back 5.5 inches from this point, because them 389 springs are longer. That would have put it right here, right in the way of the cab mount. So, and it's a taller mount. It mounts higher up on the frame. All this down here is the same, but it puts it higher in the frame here. So moving that back will fix this problem. It fixes that problem right there. It'll bring 12 inches, will bring it right back to the back of the head. So that'll get me the clearance I need inside the cab for the throttle pedal and all that crap. I've actually got a chrome filler piece that goes right here, so I can use it to add to the hood, between the hood and the front of the step. Because see, that's the step mount here. And I think I actually flipped them side to side, trying to make them work out better with this layout. So that's gonna make things better. There's gonna be a breather cut out right here. So if I move it back, that'll put the breather cut out here, and all this will be back here. So if I just add to the front of the cowl here, then all I got to do is fix this part, fill this little piece right here, and I think I can work it all out. And that way it'll make this truck a long hood truck. I'll still have plenty of real estate past the cab before the fifth wheel. And I think that's going to work out real nice. And now when I go to see on this rear suspension, there's supposed to be a bar that goes from here all the way around to the other side. It looks like a sway bar. There's one on the front and one on the rear. They were missing when I got this thing out the junkyard, and I didn't know it. That's the main suspension point. And then I'm looking, there's not but 7 of these huck bolts to cut off. Everything else is regular bolts. All these bag mounts and stuff, I'll use 2 of these bag mounts for the air spring, for the airbag for the front axle. And the rest of them will be extras. And then pull all the bolts out. And I'll weld all the holes up. And then re-drill all the holes for the airliner brackets. See, these brackets right here, these airliner brackets right here will bolt right in here somewhere. Which, I mean, I can move where this quarter fender bracket goes, but that's not a big deal. And so then whatever, like I said, whatever holes I don't need, I'll weld up and then just re-drill new holes. It'll be 6 holes for each one of these brackets, and then I think it's 2 holes for the bag mounts and a few holes for the panhard bars or whatever, and that'll be good. So it really makes it pretty simple, a lot simpler than I thought. So we'll get this truck moved to my house. It's at my buddy Danny's right now, and get that done. Get the Meritor housings with the new diffs in them installed in here, and probably will just rough bolt in that 18-speed to this B model motor for the time being until I get that C15 built, and that way I can finish mocking everything up. And then once I get everything mocked up, then I can blow it back apart, sandblast it, do the body work, and paint the frame, and then I can go back together for the final time. So that's what we're looking at right now, and it's looking good. I like what I see. So y'all stay tuned, and I'll show you as I go.